When the Shiny Revelry set released in Pokemon TCG Pocket, everyone was so excited to be getting a new Charizard EX, especially since it was shiny. But what if I told you that you shouldn't use the new Charizard? Because it's, well, bad. Let me explain. The new Charizard EX has 180 HP, so it's the exact same as the prior Charizard EX that we got during the initial Genetic Apex release. However, for 1 energy, this Charizard allows you to take 3 energies from your energy zone and attach it to itself, essentially able to accelerate its own energy, kind of similar to like a Magneton, who can also create their own energy. However, the biggest difference between this Charizard and the older Charizard is its big attack, which is called Steam Artillery, which costs a whopping 5 energy, but only does 150 damage, which is 50 less than the previous Charizard's big attack. Now, the original Charizard EX, like I mentioned, has the same HP. It has 180 HP, which these HP stats are nothing to scoff at, especially with the addition of Poke Tools like Giant Cape, which allow it to have 200 HP, basically preventing it from getting one-hit KO'd by anything besides Charizard itself. Now, this Charizard allows you to attack for 60 damage with the move Slash for only 3 energy, which is already a big difference between this Charizard and the previous Charizard, since this one can't even attack for less than 150. It doesn't have a smaller attack, it just has the energy acceleration. Secondly, like I mentioned, this Charizard's big attack, Crimson Storm, does a whopping 200 damage. Essentially, it's able to one-hit KO every single thing in the current TCG Pocket meta, regardless of if they even have a Giant Cape. Even if you put a Giant Cape on Charizard, giving it 200 HP, Crimson Storm does exactly 200 damage, so it will still be able to one-hit KO an opposing Charizard. A very not fun situation to be in if you ever do find yourself in the mirror, and it basically becomes a race of whoever can set up their Charizard first. Now, the downside to Crimson Storm, however, is that you do have to discard 2 energy from the Pokemon, which I think is why people thought that this Charizard was going to be so much better. They're like, oh my god, I don't need Moltres anymore because it can just create its own energy, but I feel like this is actually a significant downgrade, since Moltres is already such an efficient energy acceleration tool. And considering that most of the meta right now revolves around big EX attackers that Charizard is able to one-hit KO, as long as you get 5 energy on Charizard before it's in the active spot, all you need to do is click Crimson Storm twice, and you're basically in the clear. And I know what you're thinking. Everybody knows that I myself am a cheesy Charizard player. I call him cheesy because it's very easy to cheese out wins, especially if you can get your coin flips. But don't take my word for it. Let the results speak for itself. One of my favorite indicators of how the meta is currently changing in TCG Pocket is by looking at Ursi's Pocket Weekly, which is the biggest TCG Pocket tournament that's out there currently. And if you look at the results from last week's Pocket Weekly, since currently, right now on Saturday, there's one going on right now, so I can't really talk about that one yet since it's day 1. But last week, would you look at who got 3rd place? That's right, Charizard EX and Moltres EX. And if we look at the deck list, would you look at that? They're still running the original Charizard EX. Meanwhile, the next highest placing Charizard and Moltres EX was in 69th place. And the biggest difference between that deck that got 69th and the one that got 3rd is that, would you look at that? One of their Charizards is the new Charizard. I actually happened to battle this exact deck on the ladder myself, and I can tell you from my own experience that their new Charizard EX just happened to fall a little short, since it wasn't able to pick up the KOs that the original Charizard would have, which I think speaks a ton for how good the original Charizard EX still is, even in the current meta. Ever since the release of Poke Tools, this deck got so much more support, and with the addition of cards like Iono, which some people are running, this particular deck is not running, it allows you to be able to find your evolutions faster so that you can set up more quickly. Of course, Pokemon communication can also help in a pinch as well. But because this deck with the original Charizard is able to set up so quickly and do a devastating 200 damage, it's kind of hard, especially with the current meta where everything is more of a slow build like Giratina or Darkrai, to be able to outpace it, let alone knock it out, since all of those decks would be a 2-hit KO on Charizard. The only Pokemon that can technically one-hit KO Charizard, barring something like a Giant Cape, is Gyarados, and even Gyarados himself takes a while to set up, barring Misty, since even Manaphy can only attach 1 energy to it per turn that it's on the field, whereas Moltres is able to attach 3 energy to the Charizard evolution line. Not to mention Moltres has a 140 HP stat, so he can take quite a bit of hits as well. And he's not even weak to water, he's weak to electric. So even if he's going up against a water deck, he's not going to be taking that extra 20 damage. Charizard will, but you know, he's safe in the back for now, as long as you have Moltres in the front. But enough yapping, let's go ahead and look at some actual gameplay of me using the deck on the in-game ladder. Bad RNG and all. To show you just how good this deck can be, even if you're as unlucky as me. Luckily, we're starting second here, so hopefully I can show you just how quickly this deck can set up. All right, we actually are not starting with a bad hand. We're starting with Moltres, and I am going to go ahead and wait to put down Shaman, just because I don't want to immediately get Sabrina. That has happened to me far too many times, so I like to play a little cautiously, especially since we are going second. We do kind of have the luxury of seeing what they are going to set up, and we are able to attach energy first, which means that once I get my energy on Moltres, I will be safe to put down stuff on my bench. And it looks like they're starting with Carnivine and Sprigatito, and I bet you they're about to pull their Arceus out of there so that Carnivine can do 10 billion damage. Never mind. It's another Sprigatito. Oh, there he is. I spoke too soon. My bad. I knew. He always shows up. He's never not here. He's always lurked in the background. All right, now it's our turn. We do have Charmeleon in our hand. We're gonna have to go ahead and Professor's Research and hope for a Charmander here. We're getting Mars and a Giant Cape. Okay, neither one of those are what we wanted, which is very unfortunate. We're gonna go ahead and still attach to Moltres. We're obviously not going to actually attack. We're not starting off very strong. However, it's also me, so I'm not surprised that my RNG is this bad. Let's see what they end up. I mean, I imagine they just attach here. Oh, they are already building their Meowscaradas. This could be bad. This could be real bad. Ooh, we may have just fallen into a trap, I fear. Okay, we take this Vine Whip. It does 50. Very not ideal. And ooh, wow. And we still don't pull a Charmander. This is very unfortunate. However, good news is that we do have an Iono, so that does help us here with the consistency of being able to find the Pokemon that we need. Obviously, we couldn't lose it last turn since we did use a research, and there is the boy. He is now present. We're going to go ahead and put him down, and then we are going to go ahead and use Pokemon Communication here, just because I don't particularly need 2 Moltreses. So I am going to go ahead and try to find Charmeleon. There he is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and attach 1 energy to Charmander here. We are going to go ahead and hope for some heads for this little Inferno dance. Let's see. Okay, we got 1. You know, could have been worse. Could have been worse. Could have been none, right? Could have been none. I'm happy to get at least 1. Especially because, like I said, I don't have the best luck. Okay, there's a Meowscarada on the field now, which means that next turn, bro's gonna start swinging with those claws. So we gotta speed it up here. Okay, the good news is that we did find Charmeleon. And we also have Charizard in our hand. Shaman is gonna go ahead and do its little Shaman thing and do that. So, good job, Shaman. I'm going to go ahead and attach an energy to Charmeleon here. We are going to go ahead and use Professor's Research to see if maybe we can find our Giant Cape again. And then we find Moltres instead. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just do 1 final Inferno Dance. We do get KO'd here. So we might as well try to attach energies to Charmeleon. We did get 2 heads, which is actually perfect, which means next turn we can evolve and we will be ready to Crimson Storm. If they do anything crazy like Sabrina, we can always put in Shaman. So we do have outs currently. Okay, so they go for the Vine Whip, which means they probably have like a Cyrus hiding in the back, which is not fun. We're gonna go ahead and heal here. If they Cyrus, obviously they get their KO. We're gonna go ahead and Charizard. I am going to attach 1 extra energy to him. And we are going to go ahead and X speed. Skedaddle out of there. And we can start picking up some KOs here. Here we're free to Crimson Storm since we do have 7 energy. 6 energy, sorry, counting is hard. I imagine he puts in Meowscarada here. Yeah, he wants to get that big 130 damage. And he may even try to Cyrus me so that he can get his immediate 2 points. We are obviously in danger of that. He is going to go ahead and just go for the 130 on Charizard. We did find Giant Cape, a little too late, but you know what? At least we found it. We're going to go ahead and get our heals from Shaman. I'm going to go ahead and attach here. We are going to attach the Cape. We are going to go ahead and Crimson Storm here. Get rid of Meowscarada. And now if he does have his evolution in his hand, then obviously that's bad news for us, which he may just find because of that professor's research. I hate when they take this long. It always makes me nervous. I'm like, just let me know. Just let me know if I'm going to win or lose. You don't gotta do this much. Okay, he's going for Giant Cape, which leads me to believe he does have Meowscarada. Cat. Okay, never mind. He went for Slash. Okay. Well, we just attach here. We go ahead and heal. He never found his other Meowscarada. I think I might have ruined his night with the Iono. And we concede. So even against decks that set up really quickly, like Meowscarada, and also do 130 damage into EX Pokemon, obviously Charizard is a really consistent choice, especially with that 180 HP. It lets him live a lot of things. Okay, let's see if the RNG is in my favor today, and hopefully we can start second. That is ideal, especially with this deck, so that you're able to attach your energy. Starting first. Okay, I think I kind of manifested that bad luck, and it looks like we're going up against a metal deck. Good news is we have Moltres. We do also have Shaman to help with heals. So, and they're starting with Skarmory. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and use these Pokeballs. We get a Charmander. And we'll Pokeball again. This is helping to thin out the deck as well. Okay, and we got another Charmander. And we're gonna go ahead and research. We get another Moltres, but we do get a Giant Cape. So I am gonna go ahead and actually cape Moltres here, just because if Skarmory is able to find a tool itself, it is going to be doing an immediate 50 damage. And then I'm also going to go ahead and put this Moltres down, just in case we need to attack with him. The good thing is that we do have Charmeleon in our hand, which means we will be able to evolve relatively quickly here. Obviously, that's barring, like, an Iono. See, there it is. There's its tool. So we do take 50 damage here. Very unfortunate. Alright. We did get an X speed, which is also nice. We're going to do our heals with Shaman. Shaman does help a lot in these cases. Go ahead and evolve here. And then go for our first Inferno Dance. We get one. Only one. Okay. My luck is not the best when it comes to coin flips. Don't ask me why I enjoy using a coin flip deck when usually I can't flip coins to save my life, but one is better than none. Okay, it looks like they're having trouble finding their own Pokemon as well, since they did just attack the Skarmory. And there's Charizard. Okay. So the good news is that we have a Charizard. The bad news is that I can't flip. So at least we have him ready. I simply just need him to get his energies. All right. No. Well, you know, it really do be like that sometimes. It really do. Okay, they still cannot find their Pokemon. However, I think this is also a good example of how sometimes it can be difficult with coin flip decks. We are going to go ahead and attach our third energy here. And I am going to go for a final Inferno Dance. I know a supporter can be used. And hope that we can, hopefully... Okay, you know what? All right, finally. Something good happened. Okay, so now Charizard is free to Crimson Storm here. We are going to lose a Moltres, because obviously Skarmory takes it out this turn, but I think we had to make that trade-off. And it looks like they never found their Pokemon. So as you can see, like I mentioned, since Moltres has a pretty decent HP stat, he's able to live a ton of hits and also help accelerate energy. Obviously, hopefully you're a better coin flipper than I am, because those were some sad coin flips. And then with the addition of Poke Tools, it's also able to live longer, or you can attach it to Charizard if you do need Charizard to take hits as well, and give him that 200 HP. But overall, for a coin flip deck, it's such a consistent deck, especially with things like Iono. Like I said, I could have simply Iono'd that next turn if I didn't have any of the evolution line in my hand, just to reshuffle my deck and see if I can get a better hand. Another thing about this deck that also makes it so good is that it's very like beginner friendly. It's not a deck that you have to think a lot about, since essentially you just want to make sure that Moltres is in the active spot while you try to evolve up to Charizard and feed it energy so that it can Crimson Storm. So the barrier to entry for this specific deck is very low, so it's noob friendly, aka Diana friendly, because I didn't even play TCG until TCG Pocket came out, and now we're over here in Ultra Ball tier trying to climb up to Master Ball. The grind to climb is very long and tedious, so hopefully we get there before the end of the month. But I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Do you think I'm wrong, and do you think that the new Charizard is the way to go, or do you think that it's just better to go with Old Reliable? So leave your thoughts down below in the comments. But that is gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you did, I kindly suggest that you consider subscribing so that I can continue to make content for you guys. And if you were already subscribed and you would like another way to support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all of my other socials, so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to those of you who have joined the channel as members. I appreciate you all so much. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.